What's going on, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Fuel Your Frame. This is week number 2. I am Johan Francis from CoachJohanCSCS.com. This week, let's talk about the world's greatest sport, if you ask me, kickboxing. I'm sure a lot of you know somebody who either engages in weekly kickboxing or you've tried it yourself. It's no surprise that you understand just how intense it is, right? How much recovery and cardio is involved. Not only that, how tiring, an hour of hard kickboxing, Muay Thai, boxing, Taekwondo can be. You're basically using every muscle in your body, even when you're resting. So it could be some of the hardest, most demanding exercise, workouts, or lifestyles you engage in. And I mean, if you do MMA, you get even more of that, right? Well, from an exercise standpoint, it's because you're doing a lot of intervals, okay? Kickboxing inherently is intervals. The whole sport is intervals. You work or train or compete for a round, and then you get a round off, right? You get a minute off after working for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Inside that round, there's little intervals where you throw for power, you throw combos, you can engage in flurries. Now you're moving your head and blocking. That's an interval, okay? Well, the thing exercise-wise about intervals is they burn the most fat per hour. That's just a fact, right? This is some of our fit hashtag facts. They burn the most fat and calories within a time frame, and they get you the most conditioned fast, which is why these things are so popular, why kickboxing as a workout, right, alone is so popular, because you can burn a lot, get into shape fast. Again, I want to emphasize how extreme conditioning is required to get even decent at boxing, right, and kickboxing. Truthfully, though, if you're not in extremely good shape today, if you just continue going to the gym, going to your favorite class, you'll get there. Even if you're not trying to, win the shiny middleweight belt, right? You'll still get an amazing conditioning just by competing. It's a lifestyle, a sport, and a workout. Did I mention it was extreme? Well, guys, that's because it requires 3 of your 4 energy systems, right? And yes, I did say 4, but this requires 3 of them. Throw combos that end with power. You're moving around all the time, right? And you're expected to, within moving around, display feats of power with over time, which essentially is strength, right? This is having a ground level of movement and then engaging in some kind of power. That's called strength. And you have to do all of that within 3-minute, 2-minute, or sometimes higher minute rounds. That's endurance. And inside the gym, you guys, right? This is what I'm talking about. Inside the gym. This is what I train fighters if we're going to simulate 3-minute rounds. About I put 90 seconds, 30 seconds, and 30 seconds, and 120 seconds. Okay, so 30 seconds of your 3-minute round, that's like 8%, right? That's how we came up with these numbers. But about 8% will be power. Most of it is endurance. Okay, and I want to direct you guys to this. This is the first week where we're going to talk specifically about power, even though globally we're talking about endurance. So the new thing to remember about kickboxing is that we're going to use some power. Power generally is a function of your fast twitch muscle, right? And that 8% is going to use creatine phosphate. And that is the fuel source in your body that within a few seconds of performing a move at high intensities, you're using creatine. So we'll want to replace this inside the body, right? And in 30 minutes, you're going to use your strength, power, and endurance. Strength, again, you're going to use some kind of output over time, right? You're not just going to stand in one place. You're going to want to, hit the bag, go to the body, then the head, then take a little breather, right? Move around, reset, do it again. That's strength. Your ability to keep moving is endurance. And as you increase your endurance, you actually also increase your recovery time. And that's both within and outside of a round. Okay? So those are your gains. Know that in 30 minutes of kickboxing, a lot of stuff happens. So this is our science-based slide. Okay? According to harvardhealth.edu, on average, if you're like 125 pounds, you're going to burn 300 calories every half hour, to 450 if you're about 220 pounds. Most classes are an hour, so you're burning about 800, ish or so calories on average in an hour. Okay? We talked about it earlier. It's an interval, but let's take a look at the chart. Okay? Here's the energy system that's used if the, not event, but the actual movement is 6 seconds. So if you go 6 seconds all out, or power flurries on the bag, right? Power punches, power combos, your body's burning out its creatine. Then it's recovering. Let's say we work continuously from 30 seconds to about 2 minutes. Your flurries are going to require fat glycolysis. Okay? And for the whole round, it's oxidative, meaning you're burning fat and carbohydrates equally. And the longer that this goes on, past a half hour, we talked about it last week, that starts to become fully cardio. As your power starts to diminish heavily, your ability to recover creatine also goes away, right? It becomes purely cardio. But this is just one round, okay? I can remember being in the gym for 17 rounds. Professional fighters constantly do 20 rounds of sparring and work on a daily basis. So, I mean, if you go back to this slide, this is one round. It contains all of these energy systems, and all of this metabolism is happening, right? And if we go back even further, extreme, right? So here are our 3 takeaways, okay? We want to take in more creatine. Creatine is going to be the fuel source that our body wants to utilize in the absence of oxygen when we perform maximal effort moves. Maximal effort is short, so very hard punches. You can't punch like Mike Tyson for a full 5 minutes straight. It's not possible. The closer you can get to doing that, though, the more special of an athlete you would be. But throwing haymakers repeatedly, just not possible. The reason is this huge molecule, creatine, inside your muscles depletes rapidly, and it takes a relatively longer time to replenish. However, you can deepen your stores of creatine inside your body, which is why the supplements are popular. Speaking of supplements, this course generally will try to avoid using supplements as much as we can, because a lot of what you can find in the outside world. We want to add glutamine, all right? Glutamine helps our body recycle lactate, which builds up inside of our muscles, into pyruvate. And so we can keep going. Once pyruvate starts to go away, our energy system shifts into mostly oxidative long term, and our ability to produce bursts of energy and strength diminishes. So you want to start looking for glutamine. And lastly, you want to keep your complex carbohydrate status high, right? This helps us have more glycogen for the muscles, the working muscles to burn, and in theory also the liver glycogen. This slide right here is just like a reference real quick about where you can find creatine. It's in meat, you guys, in eggs, in animal sources. If you're a vegetarian, you're going to have to go out of your way to ingest endogenous sources of amino acids that your body creates into creatine. Okay? Things like methionine, a lot of amino acid supplements might be a good idea if you're strictly vegetarian. If not, there's a lot of course, meat sources. Glutamine you can find in yogurt, beans, eggs. And of course, going back to last week, we remember where our complex carbohydrates are found, right? We talked about it in the last episode. For breakfast, we're going to go heavy fruit in the morning. We're going to get our protein in. Want to add eggs, right? For some reason, eggs and breakfast are best friends. So why not get your eggs in early in the morning? You're bodybuilding, you eat eggs at dinner. You eat them before when you're in your car driving to work. But definitely want to get the fruit in the breakfast hours of the day. We're going to go with high complex carbohydrates. So this is already one of our differences from week 1. We want to get in more complex carbohydrates here as we have a chance to. High fiber, right? So tacos, right? Delicious burritos. We can incorporate beans in our salad, red beans and kidney beans. This is a great time with our snacks if you want to improve at your kickboxing to take in some jerky. I used to sell nutrition supplements and know how easy it is to get jerky in any form. From bison jerky to turkey jerky to chicken jerky. It's out there, all right? If you don't want to just sit down and eat cuts of meat day after day. Just for some variety, think about getting in your jerky. And of course, the peanut represents smoothies. This is going to be where you get in your 2-ish grams of creatine. And lastly, some complex carbohydrates, but finish up getting the most protein. Guys, going back to this slide, we notice that the nexus for increasing complex carbohydrates, glutamine and creatine, means that we're automatically getting high protein. So thinking about getting more protein at dinner is automatically going to help us get the rest of this stuff if we, say, missed it during lunch. So for dinner, think about some complex carbohydrates, mostly protein. This can be a rice bowl of ramen, right? It can be, I love ramen, so you can get your meat in there with your eggs, actually, right? It can be a plate of rice with your meat, your brown trout, and your white rice, some turkey chili. These are great options. In conclusion, right? We remember it's extreme, and so we touch on every energy system, which means we need to replenish it. Because of these percentage ratios, it's a good idea to think about getting your creatine, complex carbohydrates, and glutamine. I want you guys now to head over to the website. I want you to go to skills, and I want you to go to this lesson. When you get there, you'll be able to download the nutrition label, food label card. I want you to fill it out, and in there I want you to find out how many complex carbohydrates are on that food. Then go ahead and grab anything that's near you that's food or a drink or even a supplement, and I want you to find out how many complex carbohydrates are in there. Notice that it's not listed readily, so you'll have to do a little bit of work. If you need more advice, more skills, if you need the formula, the very, very simple formula to finding complex carbohydrates, hit me up. I'm waiting to hear from you at the website, CoachJohanCSCS.com. Next week, we're going to talk about cycling and a diet meal plan for cycling. Until then, you guys, I hope to hear from you soon. Take care. Thanks for watching.